We did bring back Jordan Berry. We signed him to the practice squad. Obviously, Berry's been with us for what? He got here. Was it 15 or 16? I think it was 16 when he joined.
When he started his career here.
Yeah. 16. Played up until last season where he spent. He spent all of last season in Minnesota, and then this training camp got beat out. Obviously was a free agent and stuff like that, and that's ultimately why we were able to bring him back. The familiarity is there, and while he was in Minnesota, man, he still was pretty impressive up there.
That was the best season.
Yeah, definitely was. And one of historic proportions for his Vikings status. I think he's second. He finished in terms of his average punt was like 44 or something, 44 yards per
46.
punt. 46, yeah. So it was like
46
second.
and a half.
It was like second in like Vikings punting history. So I was like, yo, that's pretty dope for him.
Viking legend.
Hey, man, shout out to him, man, for one season, right? But they did that in response to Presley Harvin dealing with some hip inflammation. That's what they were saying. So we're just trying to see with this, obviously, this is more of a precaution because if Presley's good to go, you roll with Presley. But if he is not good to go, you don't want to wait to the last minute to be signing a punter when we have seen, especially this year, how important our punting is. Yeah. You know, we've been at a spot where we haven't had the lame duck punts anymore, or the just like, what the heck was those? Like, we're in a good space right now.
Donald Copeland says we injured PH6 for punting too much.
Oh, man. He's been kicking a lot. He's been punting a lot, bro. He has been punting a lot. Not as much as my man out in Denver, Corliss Waitman. Shout out to him. But he's been punting a lot, though. He definitely has, man. But to me, man, I either way, I feel good about if we got to get out of a bind in a week. You know, if this is one of those situations where, like I said, he was full participant, so the medical team will, you know, evaluate him, and obviously Coach and Danny Smith will look and see what did he look like in terms of the quality of the work. Because as we've heard Coach Simon talk about before, you can be out there, but what does it look like? What is the quality like? So if there's a scenario where they feel like he's good to go and he's not going to risk, you know, making things worse or anything like that, you roll with him. But if it's a scenario where you might want to give him the week, at least you got Jordan Berry in-house.
It's not that bad. I feel like a lot of Steeler fans are upset about this one. It's like, who else are you going to get? Berry's not that bad.
He had a 40 net when he was here. And once again, we talk about the 40 net. What does that mean? It is the punt plus the coverage. 40 is the magic number when you're talking about the net punting average. So to break it down, if you punt the ball 60 yards, it's a 10-yard return. It means it's a 50-yard net because you had the 60 yards for the punt, but you got to subtract the return, and then that's how you get your average. So when you talk about averaging 40-plus yards of net punting, that means you are putting that ball consistently where it needs to be. Your coverage is doing what it needs to be, and you're just overall a varsity punter. That is where both of these guys have been and where both of these guys currently are. So I'm with you, Deke. It's nothing negative outside of Presley need to get his hip.
Waitman's on the Broncos. Like, that would have been the other guy we could have signed.
I'm about to say, for me, is Brad Wing available? He's the other guy. I would say, yeah. Were there any punters though?
It's not like we're having Berry be our starter.
Yeah.
And if anything, you would have wanted that last year compared to how Presley Harvin did. But now Harvin is who we think he is. That's why we drafted him so far this season.
Absolutely.
Punting really well.
Absolutely. So, you know, I definitely, like I said, I didn't have any issues with that. But in the corresponding move, they did release Delonte Scott from the practice squad. And he was one of those guys that since the COVID rules, they're allowed to practice squad, but on game, they can bump up certain players. He was one of those guys that had been bumped up. But I do think if he isn't picked up by anyone else, whenever we open up a spot, I do think Delonte will be back because they seem to like him a lot. Obviously, with his size, some of his athletic ability, he's just very raw. So you need to, I mean, he's a perfect practice squad candidate, so to speak, in the sense of you just want him to continue to develop and continuing to get more polished because he does have some of the framework to be a really good player in this league.
You know who we could think about?
At what position?
Punter. He's pretty good for us, actually.
For us?
Yeah.
Oh.
War number 7. The only guy that can come back and wear number 7. Benjamin Roethlisberger.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be opposed if we bring him back to punt. You know, he's a lefty punter. Has only punted dots from what I see or what I remember.
Yes.
I don't remember any shanks. He'll put the ball where it needs to be, but he just so happens to have a decent arm and can command an offense, score some touchdowns, win some Super Bowls whenever he's a quarterback.
Which one do you think he's better at, punting or throwing?
Throwing. So that's why I'm saying if things just aren't really working out on offense again, into the first quarter, second quarter,
That's what you go with it?
Make a quick switch.
Okay.
Make the punter also the starting quarterback
Okay.
mid-game, and see where life takes
So
us.
does he still punt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Okay.
Someone did that in the past. Was it Ray Guy, right?
Okay.
Wasn't he a punter and a quarterback?
Okay. All right.
Let's throw it back a little bit.
Hey, man, you heard
1940 stuff.
Did bring out the old school single bar face mask too?
That would be legendary.
It would be. It would be. I could just see him out just
For one game.
single bar.
For one game, but then Ben's going to throw 3 touchdowns, and we're going to want him back as the starting quarterback.
Oh.
Give him his old helmet back for the Bills game. Yeah,
I
yeah.
can dig that.
Come on.
Today's show is brought to you by True Classic Tees. Now, y'all seen us wear these tees on the show before, man. Extra comfy. And I love the fact that when you're talking about the design of them, I talked about, man, that athletic tailored feel, but at the same time, a little bit more room in that midsection for the guys that used to have them 6-packs that no longer reside with 6-packs anymore. But either way, man, it's a dope site, man. They got dope material up there, man, in terms of the t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, sweatpants, things like that, man. And as Deke can tell you as well, they do feel really nice and comfy, man. So I definitely like that. But more important, he said, yeah, this is true. This is definitely true, man. But more importantly, we got a promo code for you, baby. That promo code is MOATS. If you use that, you get 25% off at trueclassictees.com, baby. So, like I said, man, don't waste time, man. Get with the cool kids, baby, because these shirts for guys or ladies, you will enjoy them, okay? Trust me on this one. So, shout out to True Classic Tees, and more importantly, shout out to them for sponsoring today's show.